Good morning, you beautiful person. So it is a Tuesday and we will be planting fruit trees. Interesting thing that I just quickly want to note. Looky, stop. 3 weeks since we had rain and Looky is barely a shovel deep and there is moisture in the soil. How cool is that? So Looky is getting things ready. Okay, Looky, you can continue. Things ready to plant the fruit trees. We've got some charged biochar that we'll be working into one of the new beds, and then we will be transplanting onions to make it a little bit wider and get it into the other beds as well. Okay, so the charged biochar is basically biochar that's been laying in water and that we just water with nutrients. This is duck poop, but we've got some worm poop and we've got some different ones, and so we'll be adding all of them to this unprepared bed here. Work it in. I think we are going to add about 10 buckets or everything that we have into this one bed to do it as an experiment. Fill it up, get it ready, and then do onion transplants and see how that happens. Now onions, the onions that we'll be transplanting, let me show them to you quickly, are these. Now they don't necessarily normally get too much fertilizer, but I think it might be a good idea to do it with some onions and see how they handle the fertilizer versus the ones that don't get it. Maverick John said peaches are prone to root rot, and will they not get rotten if they plant it inside of the African smiles? So I made a verbal mistake yesterday, but not a intentional. I'm not planning to put them inside of the African smiles. So that is actually the berm to this swale. Let me just explain the system a little bit further. So this is a swale, a T-swale coming from our main swale there. Now our swale mount or our berm is too high, unnecessarily high, as you can see here. There's no need for the tree to be that far away from water, so we're gonna plant them lower like this, but we'll still plant them on the outside of the African smiles. So I just want to remove some of this soil from the berm, work it into Mikon's garden. There is so many ditches. We already worked out this whole swale here, worked that into the garden, because as you can see here how much filling up you can do. You can see there they didn't do it properly. There's still some holes, but there's so many unevenness in the garden. You can see there all of that can be filled up, and there's tons and tons of filling up that can be done. So we're going to work that berm away. In fact, that berm is now going into this part here, as well as the worm tea and the compost tea. We are also using this sea grow fish emulsion as a charging for the biochar. I've got a love for this stuff. I know people say I don't need to buy any fertilizer, but I absolutely love fish emulsion in the garden. And so that soil is coming up here. We then build little beds like this, but this specific one I want to charge with biochar and then replant that onions in there. But yes, I am scared of root rot, so that's why I move this peach. We'll go away from the swale a little bit. Away from the swale a little bit, and a little bit away from the swale. Would probably be planted around there, 2 steps away from each one. And the same further at top. Okay, so one of the extra things that's happening today is the last material for the roofs are being loaded. That's going to the farm. This is what that building is looking like now, and I think it looks very nice and modern. New style of putting on roofs in Namibia are these things. Timber roofs are basically being forced out. This what do you call it, light sheeted metal, bended metal, is replacing all trusses in Namibia. Slowly but surely, you know, every new building, instead of placing wood, is getting these. So the day has come to an end. Quickly want to show you what the guys have done today, but look at this funky bug. I'm just trying to focus again. How cool is that? Got this little pumpkin now, and we've got many more. I am thinking of putting Buffalo and his chummies, his friends, into the first garden tomorrow morning. Let them eat the rest of the pumpkins there. So today we've got I think it's how many new beds of onions with the biochar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new beds. The last ones I had them plant them a little bit more dense, so as they grow bigger we'll take them out. So I have them, we had to leave in a hurry, otherwise these ones would have been planted as well. Got a call that the truck came, so I had to come pick them up and tell them leave everything, we'll finish tomorrow. Put them in a bit of nice fertilizing juice and then plant them out. So just to give them an extra thing. Good news is I found offset for the spinach at quite a nice price. Emmanuel said he'll be able to sell all the pumpkins fast. So he'll have to build up a market for the spinach. So the spinach will take a little bit longer. So up until then I have a space to offset all the spinach. It's a lady that can accept, or can either give us cash, or she can give it as a credit, and then we can get some different vegetables or cheese or meat or something from her shop as a credit. And because she works like this, her stuff is actually a lot cheaper than in the shopping malls. She works from her home, so she doesn't have that big expenses. So I think that's quite a nice contact to have. So this is where I'm thinking of putting Buffalo and his friends in tomorrow. There's a little fence around it, and there was pumpkins and beans in here. We harvested quite a lot of pumpkins, we harvested quite a lot of beans, and so the crickets got to some of the beans. Some of them are still mostly edible. So you can maybe send the guys in beforehand to harvest as many beans as possible. Then we can put them in here. You see, the reason I want to clear the space up is there is drip irrigation in here, and so we can immediately plant it with onions, because we've got too many onions that needs to be planted out. And then we can harvest the pumpkins there and there and there and there and everywhere. And it would be interesting to see what they are doing to these lucinas, whether they will eat them, what will they do. I see this one is about to make flowers, which means it might make seed. It would be nice to produce lucina seeds on the farm. Not that it's a scarce resource, it's just it would be a milestone if we start producing our own lucina seeds on the farm. But all of our other trees will do the same next year, so it's not really such a big deal. Carol bought some coffees as well. Thank you, Carol, for the thing happening at Manette's garden end of June. Just have to double check the date, but we're going to do quite a nice thing. Sue also sent me a letter on what she wants to have done, which I think is quite nice. I'll probably share that on Discord on where we plan the event, so make sure you join our Discord. I'll put the link below. And I think that's going to be the end of my story. I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.